Good evening, fam. As we remember yesterday during EFF presser, Julius Malema urged the Zimbabweans to go back home and vote in August. However, this was not well received on Twitter. Even those Zimbabweans who previously supported Julius Malema were insulting him today on Twitter. In the next slide, listen to Ritendo, then we'll continue with this discussion.
Now, Malema, let me ask you just a few questions. You speak about the fact that Zimbabweans must go home to vote so that they can be able to liberate themselves. From whom are Zimbabweans supposed to be liberating themselves? Because as far as I'm concerned, Zimbabwe is a fully liberated country that liberated itself by the gun. It's one of the few African countries that utilize the gun to fight the oppressor, not other black people, to liberate itself. And then it went on to take its land. And from there, it sent its soldiers into Congo to prevent Uganda and Rwanda from dividing Congo into 5 easy-to-loot states that the West would have been able to loot cassiterite, coltan, and cobalt with much ease. It is because of Zimbabwe that Congo is one country today. And for that, Zimbabwe was punished to create the problem that you seem to be running away from, a problem of economic sanctions imposed by the biggest imperialist and the Berlin Conference cabal, the United States, the United Kingdom, Europe, Canada, Australia, who are still trying to preserve their colonies in America, Australia, and New Zealand. They punished Zimbabwe with sanctions. And they did it to deprive Zimbabweans of food, healthcare, education, development. They even deprived Zimbabweans of medicines, which has killed many Zimbabweans and displaced millions of Zimbabweans into places like South Africa. So today, you don't talk about the sanctions. You say that going to vote is the answer and they must remove an oppressor upon them. So who is that oppressor if you are not identifying sanctions and the Americans as the oppressor? And you want Zimbabweans to go into Zimbabwe to vote in an unfree, unfair election where many of them in the whole country is being persecuted by economic sanctions that are persecuting the civilians of Zimbabwe to force them to vote for the opposition that is called CCC or formerly MDCA, so that MDC can come in and they can reverse land reform, they can take the economy, put it back into white hands. They can take our reserve bank that is controlled by the government and put it into white hands. The very same things that you are trying to change in South Africa is the things you are asking Zimbabweans to go and elect in Zimbabwe. How is it, Mr. Malema, that you, Julius Malema, from South Africa, which never fought its own liberation, can tell Zimbabweans how it is that they can liberate themselves when you have not liberated yourselves? You have not liberated yourselves politically, which is why our fathers had to come, take weapons in Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Angola, together with the Cubans, to fight for you and lose over 600,000 lives fighting for the liberation of South Africans. Zimbabwe had to take its biggest loan. 60% of the loans that we had to pay in 2000 were because of fighting against the apartheid government to liberate you. Now you want to tell us how to liberate ourselves. And you say that we must go and vote for peace and prosperity. What do you know about peace and prosperity? You live in a country, Mr. Malema, where politicians are murdered. 3 politicians are assassinated every month over the past 10 years. You have got bodyguards because you are not safe in this country. In Zimbabwe, not a single politician has ever been assassinated. How then can you tell us about peace when you have no peace in your own country? 82 people are murdered in your country every single day. A woman is raped every 3 minutes. But you are going to try and teach us about peace when we have more peace in our country. You're going to teach us about prosperity in a country where we've got organic black billionaires created in our country because of indigenization. We've got black billionaire bankers, black moguls of telecommunications. We've got black billionaires who supply fuel. We've got black billionaires that mine gold, chrome, and all the minerals in Zimbabwe. We are going to have the biggest steel and manufacturing plant in Africa, in Zimbabwe, under sanctions. Without your support, tell us about prosperity, yet you live in an economy where 93% of the economy is controlled by 10% of the people who are whites and Indians. You have to become politicians to be prosperous so that you can make money from tenders and you can make money from being paid by white people who control the economy. Then you're going to tell us about prosperity. What do you know about prosperity, Mr. Malema? The truth of the matter is Zimbabwe is under economic sanctions. You know it. When it suits you, you talk about it. But now you are telling our people to go and vote. Voting is not the issue. Our people need sanctions to go. Because Zimbabweans have been voting for 43 years. And they've been voting for the government that they want. The one that gives them land, the best education in Africa, the one that gives them control of their minds, the ones that give them control of the economy. And we are suffering for that. The reason we are suffering is unlike Ukraine, which is being supported by the Europeans. You, Africans like yourself, all the countries of the SADC region and the African region for 23 years, you abandoned Zimbabwe. You abandoned Zimbabwe to the attack of white supremacy, of the entire European community and white South Africans. You abandoned us. But it is because the country is strong. It is because people like Thabo Mbeki supported us not to be invaded. It's the only reason why Zimbabwe is still standing today. But had you been a leader of South Africa, Zimbabwe would be no more. Then today you make it sound like it's about elections, when you know it's about sanctions. So what are you going to do when you need to take land? When you need to transform the South African economy? And you go under the same sanctions that Zimbabwe is under? Are you going to expect other Africans and other African leaders to encourage your people to go and vote against you because of sanctions, pretending like it's other reasons why people must vote against you? You're already under FATF grey list in South Africa. ESCOM is not getting money. The parastatals are not getting money. Organizations like Future Growth, plus their partners, are already not investing money because they want you to fail. And today, you are going to throw away Pan-Africanism for the expediency of the money that you get given by Stratcom to start telling Zimbabweans to go and vote in an unfair election that is hindered by sanctions, that is rigged by sanctions. It's very sad, Mr. Malema. But sometimes I wonder what kind of a Pan-Africanist you are. And the problem you have in South Africa is you're tribalists. You believe in black on black fighting each other. That's why you're encouraging Zimbabweans to go and vote in an unfree and unfair election with the advantage created for the opposition by sanctions. Because you want blacks to fight because you're too coward to fight the whites. You are given money to survive by whites. Your houses are bought by whites. Your cars are bought by whites. What kind of revolutionaries drive Maybachs? What kind of revolutionaries wear Louis Vuitton? That is the problem, Malema. And I hope one day you will wake up to understand that until we unite as Africans.
And Fikile Mbalula, without listening to Matinyarare, jumped into that discussion trying to mock Malema, but he was later corrected and they told him that this guy is actually insulting SA. Please remember to leave your comments down below and let us know of your take regarding this, especially the fact that Zimbabweans are now claiming to have liberated SA. And that's all we have for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you again in the next update. Bye.